So when I work with teams, and working on sort of team performance, team development, one of the interesting areas I often explore is this concept of the multiple teams leaders are members of. And what's really interesting when you work with very senior teams, this is like sort of, maybe just below the C-suite, so people are reporting into like the CFO or the CPO or the COO. So these are senior leaders. They're often sub-function heads, so they could be people leading significant parts of the business. When you ask them to describe the team that they're a member of, they often default to the team they lead. Most of their day-to-day reality is they lead a big part of the organisation, and they think of the team as the group of people around them. So it's often interesting to ask them to draw the team. Did they draw a triangle at the top, or did they draw a sort of inverse triangle at the bottom, or did they draw a circle? But we ask them to think about the team. And they default generally immediately to the team that they are sort of responsible, accountable for, the team that they serve or they lead. And it's what's interesting to explore, actually, that is not the most important team they're a member of. It is often in their minds, but it's definitely not the most important team. If you think about it from just a pure sort of economics, the most important team is the team they're a member of, because they're actually in a team where they're a team member, and they've got a much more senior person leading that team. And if you looked at the salaries of the team they lead versus the team they're a member of, I bet the salaries of the team they're a member of are much bigger. There's much bigger decision making, there's much bigger risk. So empirically, the team you're a member of is always more important than the team that you lead. But most people's orientation isn't towards the team that they are a member of. In terms of fellowship, they tend to focus on the team that they lead. But there is a third team, which is the team across, and in many cases, they're the team I'm a peer, so I'm a peer to multiple people at my level. I could be part of a wider leadership organisation, so I could be part of this sort of top 50 or top 100 of the organisation, or I could be working with people across wider parts of the organisation, or indeed divisions, or if it's some sort of conglomerate, there could be extended teams. And we often forget about those working teams, where often a lot of the value is created across the organisation, because we have to interact. And again, we get locked into the organisational charts we see on PowerPoint or on Teams, and we don't really think about actually how work gets done. And work gets often done in the sort of the white spaces between the organisational boxes. So in my work with teams, I invite them to just think a lot more about the wider concept of their team, to index more on their fellowship. So how do they work together as a group of peers, working with their leader, but also to think more about their role across the organisation, in something that's less obvious than the sort of the structural boxes that we tend to have, and more about how work and how things flow maybe more organically across the organisation. I generally find that opens up for people more opportunities about where they orientate their time, because often they focus their time where their energy is, and too much time is basically placed on the team below them. Not enough time is placed on the team that they're a member of. I'm amazed how many senior teams, the only time they all meet together is in this sort of monthly or maybe bi-monthly meeting. It's very rare that the peers of the same team have any kind of routines together, which is crazy really, because if they're peers, they should be working closely together. So I invite them to think about their orientation, so they think differently about where they put their focus. Inevitably, what that does is it opens up opportunities to be more effective by engaging with different people, or certainly a wider group of people, which allows them to extend their influence and their impact more widely across the organisation. So maybe my advice to you is think about the multiple teams that you're a member of, not just the team that you may be leading right now. Hope that helps.